Hey, this is Jazz, and you are watching Jazz's Rockin Roadshow. I am here in the lovely city of Cheyenne, Wyoming, standing in front of the mighty big boy locomotive. This is one of 8 that are still remaining in the United States. This was the largest steam engine ever produced in the world, and I believe there were 25 of them that were produced. This one here was in service, and it ran for about 440,000 some miles before it was taken out of service. They were all replaced by diesel locomotives. So there's a little history lesson for you. Pretty cool. It's like walking back in time. This locomotive was retired from service on October 31st, 1958. And it's been at this site since June 28th, 1963. That's crazy. I think the last time that I was here and saw this locomotive was in the year 2000, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I was with my dad and my brother and my uncle and my cousin, and we were doing a trip out west, and we stumbled upon this. Pretty crazy. That is a big steam locomotive. And the only reason that it was decommissioned is because diesel engines took over. All right, so now that I gave you a little history lesson on the Union Pacific big boy locomotive, let's get a musical guest for this episode of the show. Who are we gonna have this time? Let us see. I'm thinking maybe we have a really good singer-songwriter, acoustic guitar player. What do you think? Call Abby Morgan on speakerphone.
Calling Abby Morgan on speaker.
Let's see if she answers.
Hello?
Abby. Hello, it's Jazz.
Hey, how's it going?
It's good, how are you?
Fantastic.
Excellent. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I am out here in Cheyenne, Wyoming, hanging out in front of the mighty big boy steam locomotive that was part of the Union Pacific fleet until diesel locomotives took over. I don't know if you knew that.
I did not.
Yes. So anyways, I wanted to know if you would be interested in being on my little TV show, Jazz's Rockin Roadshow. What do you think?
I think that sounds super fun, and I am interested.
Woohoo! I was hoping you'd say that. So here's what I think we should do. I think that I should visit Cheyenne for a little bit here. I'm gonna go see the sights, and I'll make my way to the hotel. We'll do a Zoom call, and we'll introduce you to the world. How's that sound?
Perfect. I can't wait.
Excellent. Everybody, Abby Morgan on this episode of Jazz's Rockin Roadshow. Woohoo!
Finding ways to burn myself on the ice cold truth. I watch your pages turn while I just sit and yearn for a love that I know isn't true. And I don't like that glint in your eyes when you replay me every detail. And I don't wasted time waiting for your latest love affair to fail. Desire is a double-edged sword. I want you, I got you, begging for more. Always coming back no matter what you swore. Desire is a double-edged sword. That we're both full of shit when it comes to moving on. I say that I will go down that forsaken road, but you know I'm never gone for long, 'cause no one else puts me through hell and makes up for it so well. You dry my tears and calm my fears just to make them reappear. Desire is a double-edged sword. I want you, I got you, begging for more, always coming back no matter what you swore. Desire is a double-edged sword, and we could talk around it for as long as we both want to. Pretend it's not happening, but there's something about the way you walk into a room. When will I ever learn? Keep finding ways to burn. When will I ever learn? Keep finding ways to burn, baby. Burn, burn, baby. Burn, baby. When's it gonna be our turn, baby? Burn, baby. Burn, baby. When's it gonna be our turn? Desire is a double-edged sword, so I know that I got you begging for more, always coming back no matter what I swore. Desire is a double-edged sword. And it won't be ignored.
All right, I had a lot of fun checking out the Big Boy locomotive here in Cheyenne. I'm gonna jump on my bike and see what else I can see throughout the city. I've been riding my little travel bike that gets about 9 to 12 miles per charge at a speed of 13, 14-ish miles an hour roughly. But I've been riding around Cheyenne checking out the sights, and I got thinking that I recorded a interview with a friend of mine, Lou Hetzer. Lou used to own a couple clubs in the Pittsburgh area, and he used to promote bands and bring them in, and I thought it might be interesting to chat with him about his perspectives on current music scene and just to chat with him. So here's the interview from Rattleclack. All right, I'm at Rattleclack Studios with my good friend Lou Hetzer. Thank you for joining us, Lou.
Thank you for permitting me into the 412.
Lou is a dear friend of mine, even though he's a 724 area code, not a 412. But I wanted to have you on the show just to talk a little bit about, you've been involved with the music industry for the longest time, promoting bands, clubs, played in a band.
On a very minute scale.
Yes. But I wanted to talk to you about, not an outsider, but not being in a band, like, a fan's perspective about what bands are doing right, what they're doing wrong, what they could do better. Thought it might be an interesting conversation.
It is, but it's the same old story. The same tale as when we first met. Having zero game plan is what it comes down to. Playing a nice headline show now at Jurgles, which seems to be the place that's actually in the Craft House too. I mean,
those are like if you're playing there as a Pittsburgh band, you're doing okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get seen by people.
Correct. And the idea is, once you're seen, what do you do with it? if you're going to do a show with a national act or even a local band that has a huge draw, are you prepared to do what you have to do after that show? Hang around. Do you have merch? Do you have this? Do you have that? A lot of these bands don't seem to give a shit. Oh, they saw us play. They loved us.
Yeah.
Yeah, guess what? They don't remember you tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that band, what was their name? And you just got to be super, super prepared. We don't need labels. They're not doing anything anymore. The money's there for the bigger bands. But how do you get your songs heard? You know, you won the award on 97? Yeah. No, that's awesome. But it got heard outside of having to hunt it down.
Right.
All right.
That's the key.
Right. And that has been the $1 million question. Actually, the answer's there.
Right.
Yeah, it's just people don't want to follow it. They think that the problem is we go through this phase of watching or being in a band. What you do is good enough, and it's going to stand on its own. Well, it'll stand on its own that night. And tomorrow when somebody wakes up, they go, what was their name again?
Right.
And there's no follow-up. Worse, be out there talking to people and getting email addresses.
Yeah.
And then, because back in the day, street teams were big. I don't see any street team pages on there. I see bands doing their own little page.
Right.
And some have decent professional photos. Most do not. They take them live. Yeah. So they're hurting their own product without knowing they're hurting their product.
Right. And then you always get the videos at some dimly lit club taken with a cell phone, moving, and
yes,
hey, you like that? You hear people talking and the audio sounds like this, the whole time.
Or it's a fan doing it, singing with them, completely off key.
Don't post that. And my favorite is this. You know what my favorite is? When you play a club and, there's a good number of people there.
Right.
But you have that no man zone. Like, here's the stage, and you've got 20 foot where there's not a soul.
The Pittsburgh acreage.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have all the people there. It's like, and then people shoot video, and it looks like nobody came to your show.
Right.
It's terrible.
I've seen a couple of those where I know people who were there.
Yeah.
And I was like, were you guys the only ones there? And they're like, no, just people didn't go to the stage. And I would assume it's kind of awkward if you're first time maybe seeing the band or you're a fan, but you don't know the lyrics, you don't know the song, so you're going to back up. Well, and wait, I want to ask you this one.
Okay.
Are the bands that play on the same bill still doing the Pittsburgh dance? Boom, I'm done, gone.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's another thing, talking about do's and don'ts. Come see my band. We're playing with 5 other bands. We go on at whatever time.
Right.
Okay, well, you go on at whatever time. What about the other bands? Like, it used to be people would go out and they'd be like, let's go see these bands. Who's playing? I don't know, but there's like 6 of them, so it's going to be a good night.
Right.
Now it's like, 6 bands. How much is it? What time do you go on?
$5. Can you put me on the list?
Yeah, it's
like it's $5.
Yeah, it's been $5 since 1984. I mean, my goodness, wow. What would help the Pittsburgh scene?
I honestly, at this point, I thought about that. As we said, we were going to talk about this, and I'm going, there's just, people need to go out, and it's tough, because I see a lot of bands going, local bands. Oh, you're paying $1 million to see Taylor Swift or Aerosmith, but you won't pay $10 for us. Well, you have to ask yourself, not the fan. The band has to say, what reason have I given them to pay $5 or $10? Right. And they'll say, well, we play. And again, being on the club owner's side at one point, they're like, well, this is our music. We need to be paid. Okay, now, if I've told you our draw is 10 to 15 people, and you say you play in front of this many people, I at least expect you to meet me partway.
Right, yeah.
And when you don't get mad at the club, especially a new club. A baby club, it's tough enough. We're seeing clubs that have been around for a long time are now closing down.
There's a big thing in Pittsburgh about tribute bands, and that seems to be the new, like, if you want to pull people, you got to be in a tribute band.
But it's always been that way. It's cover bands too.
Well, and that's what I always say to people. Like, you know, I've gone places and seen some pretty bad cover bands, but everybody's dancing and singing. You know why? Because a lot of people would rather hear a bad cover that they can sing along to because it's almost like live karaoke than to see a great original act that you don't know.
And there's a problem with original bands because they want to rely on their material, which I don't care who you are. You need covers to appease. You don't have to make it 90-10 covers. You know, a lot of places back in the day had the thing where, listen, we want a 60-40, 60% being covers, 40%. And this will go back to a band that I worked with, a local band in Pittsburgh, and they were killer. They had 10, 11 songs, original songs, and people would hear them and be like, it's a really good tune. They buy the CDs, blah, blah, blah. But then they play a show the next week, and it's the same songs. And I was like, guys, cover tunes would not hurt. You're inspired by Seven Dust and Godsmack and all these bands at the 90s at the time, even though we were in probably early to mid 2000s. Why don't you play some of those? And you can't play the same show over and over and over. And just because you wrote a new song, it's like a baby. It's got to go through the second trimester, the third trimester, then you give it birth.
You know, what you were saying about the covers and stuff, that's the one thing, if you're an original band and you're doing a couple covers, that's the one variable that you can change. That keeps the show fresh.
Correct.
You can't do that.
People are familiar with that. And once we have your ear, now we're going to do this. And that's what I said for even local bands that open up for a national act. And what bands need to do is go, okay, I want a fan base. What do I have to do? Well, that's up to you to start thinking, okay, what kind of music are you playing? Who do you want to attract? Now, go after that person and give them a reason to come out.
All right, one last thought. What do you want to tell the Pittsburgh music scene?
Wake the up.
There you go. Wake up, Pittsburgh music scene.
And that goes for clubs. That goes for bands. That's everybody.
I made it back to the hotel. Going to do a Zoom call with Abby Morgan, this episode's guest. All right, I made it back to the hotel here, and I have Abby Morgan on a Zoom call. How you doing tonight?
Great. How are you?
I'm lovely. Thank you for being on the show. Really appreciate it. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your music. How'd you get started? What's it all about?
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm Abby Morgan. I'm a singer, songwriter. I've always loved music. I think, though, I really started in poetry. Like, that's what really was my first love back in the day. Like, when fifth grade, I was like 10 years old. I remember the first poem I ever wrote about an orange marker. And I always loved to sing. And then when COVID happened, I got a keyboard for Christmas, and I started teaching myself piano, and then I started teaching myself guitar, and I converged my love of singing with my love of poetry and started writing music, and here we are today. Great.
The love of music, it's universal. So you're it's you and a guitar, right? You and an acoustic.
Yeah, no, it is. That's like my favorite type of music. I think all music is wonderful, but for me, it's like the music you could play even if you weren't plugged into a power source. Yeah. Like, that's how I would probably define it. Yeah, well, and that's part of the reason I wanted to have you on the Cheyenne episode, because it just kind of seemed like it fit. You know, like I'm out west. There's nothing more Western than an acoustic guitar and just somebody singing. Doesn't have to be country music. That's not what I'm saying. But anyway, so you've been recording some songs, I understand. So yeah. So I mean, that whole process was crazy. I did not fathom that I would have an entire album out I guess like over the summer and stuff like that. A year ago, if you had told me that, I would have been like, what? Basically, the story is I was, out playing gigs and I was playing at this winery, and this guy, whose name's Mike Hickman, he approached me and he said, hey, I really like your stuff. I'd love to help you record music sometime. I have a studio. You should come by. And we started working together, and he was great. He was super helpful. He really believed in me, and he was like, I think we should make an album. And so I wrote all the songs, he did all the arrangements, and it was my first time ever in a recording studio, and like it was crazy. Definitely very scary at first, but it came together and we released it this summer. It's called Ambrosia. It's like a little bit of pop, a little bit of rock, a little bit of folk, kind of the intersection of those three sounds. And I couldn't be more proud of it. So yeah.
Excellent. Did you release like a physical CD or just Spotify, that type of stuff, or how did you release it?
Just really online for now. Yeah, you can stream it anywhere. You can stream music. I went through DistroKid and all that.
You have a song called Persephone, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that. How did it come about? What it's about? Well, tell me all about it.
Yeah, no, I can walk you through the process. Basically, it was related to an experience I had in my life, where I kind of felt like I had pushed someone away, not because of like anything they did, but because of like my own fears and insecurities. And they were a really good person that I was like, why was I so afraid of letting them into my life? And I'm really big into like Greek mythology, and there's a couple references in the album to Greek mythology. And I just had this image of Persephone. So the mythology with Persephone is that she spends half of her time above ground, and that's when it's spring and summer, and then half of her time in the underworld with Hades, and that's when winter comes. And I just had this image of like Persephone coming back for springtime, and me just kind of like pushing her away and being like, no, go back. I'm actually fine in the cold, dead winter. Because I think sometimes loneliness, it's not the best thing in the world, but it can kind of become comforting because it can become what you're used to. And so you push away when the spring comes into your life and the warmth comes into your life. So that's kind of where that reference came from. And I really love this song. It really grew on me. It was one of the songs on the album that we recorded and I kind of forgot about. And then once the album was like coming together and came out, it was like, oh my God, this might be my favorite song on the album.
That's awesome. That's really cool the way you came up with the idea for it. So let's do this. I'm going to be leaving Cheyenne, Wyoming soon, heading back to Pittsburgh. I'm going to have you over to jam at the studio, and I'm going to have you record that song, and we're going to put it right here in the video. So everybody, why don't you introduce the song?
All right. This is Persephone by Abby Morgan.
Woohoo!
I've been a terrible liar, always leaving clues behind. Heart tattooed on my sleeve, metaphorically speaking in these rhymes. You're like a chink in the armor, an accidental in mine. And I'll run away and pretend I'm not faced with silently I die, and the weeks will go by. The weeks will go by. Send my heart down with Persephone. Blanket of snow falls over me. I know when spring will come around again. I pushed it away. Send my heart down with Persephone. Watch the ice freeze over the gold leaves. I know when spring will come around again. I pushed it away. I pushed it away. One old tree on the hillside, swaying all alone. I sit in a shade with the mess that I made, 'cause I never picked up the phone. Stood still as a statue, solitary, confined. I bend towards the light every time that it shines. Watch it sink back out of my sight till I run out of time. Yes, I ran I pushed it away, sent my heart down with Persephone. Watch the ice freeze over the gold leaves. I don't know when spring will come around again. I pushed it away, I pushed it away. Around again, I pushed it away, sent my heart down with Persephone. Went to catch us right back up with me. I don't know when spring will come around again. I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know when spring will come around again. I pushed it away.
All right, so if you come to Cheyenne, throughout the town, you're gonna see these boots, statues, sculptures, whatever they're called. They're about 8 foot high. There's over 35 of them here in the town of Cheyenne. They're all hand painted by local artists, and if you'd like to get one done, you can have one done for you for the low price of $6,000. But I thought, since, you know, there's not a lot to do in Cheyenne other than, you know, be a Western cowboy and drink beer and do that kind of stuff. There's lots of open spaces. That's code for not a lot to do. So I thought maybe I'll see how many of these boots I can find. So there's one. There's another one. And I know there's at least one more around the corner. So we're gonna go check it out. I have found 2 of the boots so far. I think I found 2 more, 3 more. All right. This is boot number 3 on Jazz's tour. Boot number 4. This is the 5th boot I've found so far. I think it's my favorite so far. If you'd told me this morning that I'd be riding around Cheyenne trying to find 8 foot high boots as an activity this morning, I would have said you're crazy. But sometimes when there's not a lot to do, you just kind of figure out something fun to do. All right, I think we are at boot number 6 on the Jazz's Cheyenne boot tour. Let's check it out. Continuing our boot tour in Cheyenne, this is number 7. This is the 8th boot that I've found so far. I was told there were some way out this way, but I didn't realize how far way out this way was. I may be pedaling all the way back. My little bike got me to boot number 9 on our tour in Cheyenne. After about a half hour of riding around aimlessly, I found boot number 10 here at the museum at Frontier Park. There it is. It's a gambling theme. We found 10 of the 35 plus boots here in Cheyenne. We're gonna end tonight with the boot here at Frontier Park because it's starting to get a little dark out and I've got about 5 miles to get back to the hotel on that bike. Yes. So anyway, hope you had fun with me. I had fun. I guess we'll play a video now or something.
Keep replaying ancient photo slides. Far too tired and far too wise for all this spite. Packed my bags and moved on with my life. Till the memories cornered me, I couldn't hide. And it's not really about you. No, it's not really about you. It's not really about you at all. It's about what you took, it's about what you left. It's about how I'm screaming at the mirror again, playing out a fight you and I are never gonna end. What can you say to me that I don't already know? I wanna be happy, I wanna let go. What can you say to me that I don't already know? Reading books on alchemy, how do I turn you into gold? How do I turn you into gold before I let you turn to gold? How do I turn it? How do I turn this into gold? Sometimes it feels like I never learned. Meet a stranger, then assume the worst. The past can be a trap and I get caught up in bracing for more trials and witch hunts. Though it's not really about you. No, it's not really about you. It's not really about you at all. When I bet you'd laugh if you heard that I was up cursing your name again, acting all smug, thinking that it means you want the upper hand. What can you say to me that I don't already know? I wanna be happy, I wanna let go. What can you say to me that I don't already know? Reading books on alchemy, how do I turn
So if you're going to be in Cheyenne, you got to go to Frontier Days. This is a massive venue for rodeos, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Check it out. I had a great time here in Cheyenne. I hope you enjoyed checking out the big boy steam locomotive and all the booths and the rodeo. But now it's time to head back to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm going to meet up with Abby Morgan. She's going to come to the studio and play some of her songs, and we're going to do an interview. So the next stop is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm happy I made it back to Pittsburgh from Cheyenne. I'm here with my dear friend Abby Morgan, rocking the Casbah, and she brought some friends. Woo-hoo! Yeah. First time we have a studio audience here at Rattleclack. Happy. Yeah. But she is going to play a brand new song. And when I say brand new, I mean it couldn't get any newer. I think she was writing it on the car on the way over here. It's true. Is that true? Okay. Yes, she wasn't driving though.
No, it was me.
You were driving. All right, cool. Excellent. So this is a brand new song from Abby Morgan called Maxine.
Maxine, do you think of me? I can't decide if you wanna be with or who wanna be. It's effortless the way you move, and people talk to me about it 'cause they know it's true. And I can't afford to think about you. I can't afford not to. In the middle of my nights, there's a paradise where you reside, a paradise that's been screwing with my mind, coming down from one hell of a high. There's the rise and the fall and the faded goodbye, fixed point in my life, clueless the whole time. You had a hold on me. This song's the eulogy. Here's to you, Maxine, and what will never be. Maybe if I just believe, I don't think about you anymore, it'll happen naturally. It's evident how I'm a fool. For anyone who knows me, that's nothing new, 'cause I can't afford to think about you. I can't afford not to. This corner of my mind's been living on borrowed time. Yeah, I like the fire, but it's eating me alive, coming down from one hell of a high. There's the rise and the fall and the faded goodbye, fixed point in my life, clueless the whole time. You had a hold on me. This song's the eulogy. Here's to you, Maxine, and what will never be. Maxine, Maxine, you're killing me, you're killing me. And I know it'll never be. But if you're out there somewhere in a few years from now, midnight up downtown drunk, trying to find someone, trying to figure out if Another touch, another face, another dress, another waist could take my place, could feel the same as when I was there. And it turns out nothing compares. I'll say I told you so. Coming down from one hell of a high, there's the rise and the fall, and I hate this goodbye fixed point in my life. You knew the whole time you had a hold on me. This song's the eulogy, may we rest in peace. Still processing this grief, but here's to you, Maxine, and what will never be.
This is the first song I recorded on the album. It was the first. I don't know. It's just like, and it feels like very like interesting to me that this was the first song that I recorded on the album, because it's very much a song about like just kind of letting go and like letting like life take you where it's gonna take you, because like I want to be in the music industry, so like I literally have no choice but to surrender to the vibes and let the tide take me where it's going to, because otherwise you will probably lose your mind with that uncertainty. So I was just trying to remind myself that it's really just about the journey, and I don't have to like achieve something or reach a particular, you know, level of success or destination in order to like be happy. And it's called Road to Nowhere.
There's an old broke down road that very few go, afraid of the destination, but I like it there with the wind in my hair, path lit by constellations. 'Cause it's quiet like no quiet I've heard before, pleasant sensation, and nobody says you're behind or ahead, free of expectation. I don't have a plan, I don't have a care, life moves fast, so I'll spend mine there, on the road to nowhere. On the road to nowhere. There's peace in my mind that I struggle to find, changes with the seasons. There's an underlying faith that never goes away, keeping me believing that I don't have to know the places I'll go before I'm meant to see them, and I don't have to race for fortunes man-made beyond any meaning. I don't have a plan, I don't have a care, life moves fast, so I'll spend mine there, on the road to nowhere. On the road to nowhere. Taking my time because it's mine to take. I roll like tumbleweed, stumbling from place to place. So don't ask about my future, don't ask about my past. Ask me how I'm feeling, what about that? Don't ask about my future, don't ask about my past. Ask me how I'm feeling, whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to that? I'll spend mine there on the road to nowhere. On the road to nowhere.
We are here with Abby Morgan at the studio, and let me tell you, you just blew me away with all your songs. You played 5 tunes, just you and an acoustic, and you came at me 5 different ways with all kinds of emotions. I was literally sitting here with goosebumps, and I was sitting here thinking to myself, like, how do you approach your songwriting? Tell me about what you do. How do you get into this? How do you write these songs? What you're thinking about when you sing them? Just tell me all about Abby Morgan.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess the story starts like one day in 5th grade, we had a lesson in what poetry was. And I remember I wrote a poem about an orange marker. And ever since that day, when I learned what poetry was, I was obsessed and I was hooked. And that was really like my first love before music was poetry. And then like separately, I also loved to sing. Like I came out the womb singing like, and I guess the two just kind of combined. Like during COVID, I got a keyboard. I asked for one for Christmas and I started teaching myself. And then I picked up my mom's old guitar and started playing, and I started putting my poetry to music, and that's really how I got into this. And it's like the two things that I love most in life, like coming together and being combined. So that's really how I got started. And then I think when it comes to songwriting, it's a different process like every time. Like sometimes, it's like 3 a.m. and I have like an idea for lyrics and I have to write them down, and then like later I'll come up with the melodies. But sometimes I get a melody in my head first and then I'll put in a bunch of filler words to kind of like supplement it, and then I'll have to like come back once I figure out what I want to say. But I think the one thing in all my songwriting that is like the most important thing for me personally is like the hook. And that doesn't necessarily mean like the catchphrase like at the end of the chorus, but just like the theme that I'm talking about, like the central idea that the entire song is going to be encompassed by, because that is the most important thing for me, I think, to get as strong as possible, because I think it just makes it easier for me to like see clearly how the song is gonna play out.
Do you have one song that everybody kind of jumps on, or is it?
I think like recently, like the newest one actually, Maxine, I played that for the first time out at a show like a week ago, I think, at this point, and like people really liked that song. They seemed to really connect with it. Like, I don't know, like someone said, they were like, it was just like every lyric I was like, oh my god, yeah. And so I feel like I was able to write about an experience that's like relatable, but it wasn't necessarily like, I don't know, phrased in the way that I phrased it, and it seemed to connect with people, which is always really nice.
Where are you playing at right now? What types of venues are you playing? Wherever you can get? Are you?
Yeah, wherever I can get. So I'm for hire. Yeah.
Hire her. Abby Morgan.
Thank you.
Find her. She's awesome. Everyone, when you played, we were all just like, oh. Yeah.
That's really sweet.
know.
Yeah.
Awesome. What's your favorite place to play in the 412 area?
My favorite place I think that I played was at this like festival called Art All Night, which was like this 24-hour art festival, and they had like all different types of art, paintings, sculptures. I mean, they had live people painting. Like they had crazy artists who were like, I don't really know what it's called. Like, I don't know, just like adrenaline junkies basically, where they were like stabbing themselves, but they weren't really stabbing themselves. It was crazy. They had spoken word poetry, and they had like an acoustic coffee house stage. So that's where I played, and it was just a really cool experience because I just loved being surrounded by so much creative energy.
Excellent. I'm so happy that you came to be on my show, and you brought friends, audience. Thank you. Give yourself a round of applause.
Yeah.
But you do have to promise me that as your career takes off, you'll still come back. Like, even if you're playing, Madison Square Garden, you'll still come back and be on Jazz's Rockin Roadshow. You got to promise me. Pinky swear.
All right. We can do a reunion in 10 years from now.
Sweet. It's not going to take that long. 5 years. I want to see you at Madison Square Garden. Everybody, Abby Morgan, go out, buy her album. It's amazing. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Anything you want to say to them before we hang up? Hang up.
Hang up.
It's not a fun. Before we end this episode.
you know, if you're out there and you also love music and you're thinking to yourself, oh, in another life, I would totally be a musician if I was someone else, stop thinking that and go do it, because that's what I used to think like 2 years ago. So.
And now look, you're on Jazz's Rockin' Roadshow.
Exactly. Living the good life.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.